Welcome back to the Unlockable podcast. Today, Hannah and I are going to take a look at some of our most wanted items that we don't have either because they're too freaking rare or because we're just too cheap and don't have the money for them. Let's get started. Hannah, what's been going on?
Not a whole lot. As you can probably hear, I'm getting over a cold, so, don't be too harsh on me. Other than that, lots of school. That's pretty much it.
I've been doing a whole lot of school myself and taking a road trip to New Mexico and Colorado next month.
Ooh, what's the occasion?
I know you just, it's just spring break, and my girlfriend's trying to visit every state in the country for some reason, so I guess we're going to do that before we turn 30.
That's neat.
Yeah, it'll be cool. And so you just went to Colorado. What do you recommend? Did you go to any video game stores over there?
No, only because most of them were closed because it was the holidays. But no. I know there are a few, but I don't know the names. I think one of them's called Game Force, and it's like packed, absolutely packed with games. It's a small, tiny little store, and there's shelves upon shelves upon shelves of just stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna look that one up for sure. Actually, I'm gonna write it down right now. Other than that, just been going to school, finishing up these last 2 semesters. I'm going to say that every single podcast for the next year, unfortunately, but what have you been buying and what have you been playing?
Haven't been buying too much, saving up my money for spring break. But I have recently, again, started playing Breath of the Wild again, even though I'm like 400 hours in, and I'm still trying to find all 900 Koroks. But
no
it's
freaking way.
Yes, but it's proving to be incredibly difficult because I'm going no guidebook, no nothing, just me wandering around trying to find them, and I have 14 left, and I swear they don't exist.
You deserve a round of applause for that.
Thank you.
How many are there? 1,000?
No, there's 900, so close enough.
Man, 886 then. That is insane.
It's a lot of time.
You haven't looked up any of the location of any of them?
Nope, absolutely not. I refuse.
Round of applause. So, ever since my last episode, or my last video came out of the Dexter's Laboratory Powerpuff Girls combo pack, I've been really doing a ton of research on those 2 games and the combo pack, and I bought the USA-1, the variant of Disaster Strikes, and really got lucky with that one. It was in a lot with 5 Game Boy Advance games, and they didn't know what they had, so I was able to score off of that on eBay. And I got both versions of the Powerpuff Girls. Both of them are about $5 each, so nothing crazy there. And I don't think there's going to be any spike in the price for the variant there. But yeah, I have both Disaster Strikes and both Powerpuff Girls now. I got Mischief Makers for Valentine's Day. That was a pretty cool gift. Have you ever seen this game on Nintendo 64?
No, I have no idea what that is. Oh, wait.
It's like
wait. Is that the one with, like, the little guy on the front, on the cartridge? And he's like a...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I know what that one is.
Yeah, it's actually a girl. I didn't even know until I started playing.
Oh, oops.
It's like a Japanese as heck, though. It's like a very anime-style game with that Japanese humor. And I looked it up. It's only like a 5-hour game. And I'm probably 2 hours in, like 40% done with it. It's pretty cool, kind of challenging. Been wanting it for a while. I'm really glad to have it. It's not that expensive. It didn't make this top 10 expensive games list, that's for sure. It's like a $25 cartridge. Other than that, I just got in the mail right before this podcast a couple of Rayman PC games, which I don't collect for PC, but I do collect for Rayman. So I got Rayman Raving Rabbids, that awful game, but it's a sealed copy, big box PC game.
Cool.
Yeah, and that was like cheap. And then I got Amazing Learning Games with Rayman. So I was like searching eBay listings, and I sorted it by newest, and I was like, wait a minute, I've never heard of this one. and it's probably some trash education game, and I'm
It's for
happy to add it to the
children.
collection. I'm happy to throw it on my shelf. I can't wait to... Oh, that puts me at 1,200 games.
Ooh,
I just realized that.
Congrats.
You heard it here live. I've been playing Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. I don't think that I said that on the last episode. I just recently started it.
Finally.
I'm so late to the game.
You're only like 20 years behind.
It's pretty cool. I've played the newer ones. I've played the Wii U and the 3DS games and the ones everybody hates. But I've played those, and this game is definitely... It's not like level based. You know, you don't just have an overworld map. So it's different in that aspect. I'm only a few hours in. I think the audience mechanic is interesting. I haven't fully like mastered it yet. It's cool that you can have different companions with you. And yeah, it's a pretty cool game so far, and I'm starting to see why everybody's obsessed with it.
Have you played the original on the Nintendo 64?
No, ma'am.
Oh, dude.
You haven't played The Thousand Year Door?
No, I played the Thousand Year Door. I've played all of them except for
That's what I thought.
the 3DS one and the Wii one. I refuse to play the 3DS ones because everyone says don't touch those. Those are trash. But then again, I liked Color Splash, so maybe I might like them.
Yeah. I forgot about Paper Jam. That's like a Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi game. I've been playing Wolfenstein Youngblood. It just came to Xbox Game Pass, and it is a co-op game. You can play it one player, but it's always got an AI with you. And so it's kind of... I mean, it's like the Wolfenstein games that have been coming out for like the last 5 or 6, 7 years.
Is that the one with
It's,
like the sisters?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
It's pretty cool. I've been playing with my friend Nichelle, and yeah, it's kind of challenging actually. I played the first Wolfenstein remake a few years back. It's just a nice little FPS to light up some Nazis on. And other than that, you know, I'm always playing Rocket League.
I won't say anything this time.
No, you're just going to let out a heavy sigh.
Yeah. That's my response.
I've been thinking I need a new Switch game to play, and I've been thinking about opening up Starlink.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Sorry.
Okay, no. No, ma'am. I'm thinking about playing Starlink. It looks fun. I know it was like $8 when I got it sealed. I'm not worried about keeping it sealed. It's not going to be rare or anything. It just looks like a fun game. And you said you put a couple hours into it, right?
Yeah, I did. It wasn't my favorite game. It felt like, I don't know, it felt somewhat empty to me. Like, once you explored all the planets, like, it wasn't really much to do. But it was still worth the play.
I'll open it up and at least have the case on it on my shelf instead of just the giant box. So we're going to get into some news. And, yeah, I'll go first. Thanks for asking. Animal Crossing Edition's Switch pre-orders delayed in Japan due to the coronavirus. And somehow they're not delayed for North America.
Huh.
Which is a blessing, yeah. That's something I know. Like, if we were making this list in a year, this is probably a console I would have put on my list because I'm going to regret not buying it. I think it is absolutely beautiful. I love the white aesthetic to it. I know how you feel about Animal Crossing, but this thing is gorgeous.
The Switch is very pretty. I will give it that.
Sonic 2 and Puyo Puyo 2 came out on the Switch yesterday, actually, and they are $8 each on the eShop. Pretty cool seeing some more Sega titles make it over. Animal Crossing Direct just happened a day or two ago, and I watched it last night, and I'm crying on the inside because I absolutely want that game so bad. I don't want to wait another 28 days as of recording this. But they said that there will be in-game purchases. So I think we were talking about throwing Animal Crossing is going to have some DLC in it, maybe an episode or two ago, and it looks like it will have some paid DLC, just like everything else in the world.
Do you think that they'll try to connect it with, like, Pocket Camp on your phone at all?
You know, I've been wondering that for a while, but I think they might have said something about it in the direct. We've both watched it and we don't know the answer to that. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, well, it was more like background noise for me. I wasn't super attentive.
I thought that they were going to have Pokemon Sword and Shield connect to Pokemon Go, and they did no such thing. So, who knows?
Well, they kind of did, didn't they? Where you could, like, trade your Pokemon to it?
In Eevee and Pikachu, you definitely could.
Oh, I guess maybe you couldn't do that in Sword and Shield.
Yeah. Sony, speaking of in-game purchases, has submitted a patent for an AI that will suggest microtransactions to players who, wait for it, are stuck in a game.
That's terrifying.
It's horrifying.
That seems
horrifying.
That seems more like an EA thing. Like, I didn't know Sony was...
EA, Activision, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't think they were so into microtransactions, but I guess they are.
Sony is having a hard time pricing the PS5. They're saying it has costly parts. I keep seeing tweets about this. People are like, how much are you willing to spend? And people are saying like $800, $1,000, and I'm like, no.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't spend $800 on a Nintendo console. Like, that's freaking insane.
No, and Nintendo would never price their stuff that high. My God.
Nintendo Switch pop-up lounges appearing in airports. I'm sure you've seen these, right?
Yes, I've looked, and there's none in any airports around me. Unfortunately.
What, were you just gonna walk into an airport without a ticket?
Yeah. I'm just escorting this person through.
Right. Speaking of Nintendo Switch, the Switch Online paid service got Poppin' Twin B for the Super Nintendo added. It is the 6th game in the Twin B series, and it's a side-scrolling shmup. We got Smash Tennis. Anybody excited about that one?
Crickets.
Didn't think so. We got Shadow of the Ninja on NES, which was a Natsume game. And I saw people complaining on the Nintendo Twitter about like these 4 games. And I saw somebody say like, okay, to everybody complaining, Shadow of the Ninja is an amazing Natsume game. And so I looked it up, and it looks like a blast, actually. I'm definitely going to have to check this one out. And then the last one was Eliminator Boat Duel for the NES. Another weird one. I mean, I'm judging it by its name, but come on. And I was looking into it. Japan actually got different games this month than we did. They got Crystalis, which I'm pretty sure we got a month or 2 ago. They got Atlantis no Nazo and Breath of Fire 2. And a couple more things here for me. Nintendo PlayStation is up for auction. Last time I checked, it was like $330,000, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm sure it's a lot more now.
I've heard that the seller is not accepting less than $3 million. He had gotten an offer a while back for like 1.3 million, I think, and he declined it. So
wait, whoa. And he didn't sell it at that? And now he wants $3 million?
It's worth more. Yep.
Oh my God.
One of the highest bidders, or like one guy that's come out saying that he's bidding, is the creator of Oculus Rift. Apparently he is a big video game collector, and he's gonna do whatever it takes to get this in his collection.
Huh. Well, I'm sure he's got money for it.
Yeah, I was looking into it. He's worth like $700 million.
Jesus.
No big deal. Honestly, that's a pretty cool thing to spend your money on. I was looking, and people were complaining, saying, you don't need to buy this. This belongs in a museum, and I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing too. How many of them like actually exist? This isn't the only one in existence, right?
That's the only one that we know of. That's the only one that's ever surfaced.
Oh, really?
So it could be. I've honestly wondered though, like, do you think Nintendo or PlayStation would be bidding on this?
You know, I don't think so, only because if they do, then it's like confirmation that this happened. Like Nintendo and PlayStation both kind of just like shoved this one under the mat. swept it under the rug. They're like, we don't know what this is. I feel like if that were the case, they would have gone after it, like, a lot sooner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Maybe Reggie's bidding on it from his home since he's retired now.
His personal collection, yeah. I'm sure.
What else we got here? The Coral Switch Lite was announced. That's a pretty color.
It is a very pretty color. They're going with, like, pastel colors for the light, which, I mean, is it like a, haha, it's light colors because it's a Switch Lite? Or...
Oh. I didn't think about that.
I mean, they're pretty colors, but, like, the Switch colors are all, like, neon and bright, and these ones are, like, relatively calm colors.
Very good point. Last thing, Tiger handhelds are coming back. Hasbro owns the rights to the Tiger Electronics handhelds, and you can purchase them. You can pre-order them, believe it or not, at GameStop right this second. And they are $14.99. Hannah, how many are you getting?
Probably all of them. Of course.
I think it's a very strange time that we are living in right now.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
All right, you're up.
Okay. First thing on my news section was Platinum Game teases more announcements. So if you don't know, Platinum Games is the company behind Wonderful 101, Bayonetta, and Astral Chain, yeah, for the Nintendo Switch. So they put out on Twitter that they have, and they linked a website saying that, it was just the number 4. That was the only thing on the website. So people are like, well, what does that mean? So they're speculating, and one of those things is that they had a crowdfunding for Wonderful 101, and I think it made over $1 million, so like over their goal, and it's being brought to the Switch, the PlayStation, and then I think they're adding on some sort of stuff, like some content when they port it over. I think that's what I read.
So I don't understand why this was so huge when they met their goal within hours, and I just feel like when it was on the Wii U, nobody cared about it. Like, I get it, not everybody bought the Wii U, but it should be like a hidden gem or whatever on those stupid YouTube lists. Like, it should be something like that if people were so in love with it. I don't know. I don't understand where the hype came from.
Yeah, I don't either. I think maybe people were just excited to see more stuff from Platinum Games and they wanted to support them. I don't know. I really don't know. Because that's one of their more, like, not well-known titles at all. Like, everyone knows Bayonetta, and Astral Chain did really, really well. So I don't know. I'm not sure where the hype came from for that one.
So we only know one of the 4 so far?
I believe we only know 1 out of the 4. I think... Well, I'm convinced that the next ones, or next 3, are going to be at the Nintendo Direct that is inevitable at this point. So I think Nintendo keeps pushing that date back so they don't, like, they can't announce it yet because it's already, like, set up for the Direct. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so one of them would be like Bayonetta 3, we're thinking? They're going to show off that stuff?
Like, maybe a Bayonetta 3, not necessarily announcement because it's been announced for forever now, but like a date or like some gameplay or something, like maybe playable demo at E3 or something like that. And then I think maybe possibly, this might be totally impossible, but for them to be like, yeah, we're working on Astral Chain 2 because the director, I think it was the director, said that he wants to make that like a trilogy or like an ongoing series.
Oh, that would make me really happy. Well, I'm excited then.
Yes, I think that should be very, very exciting. Next thing is Byleth comes to Smash. Believe I'm pronouncing that right. Byleth. Anyway, the protagonist from Fire Emblem 3 Houses is coming to Smash. I personally am absolutely okay with that because I like Fire Emblem and my main for Ultimate is Marth, so totally okay with that. Don't have the DLC pack though, so maybe I don't really get a say. And then Sakurai, who is obviously the person that's, working on this, he says that the characters for DLC pack 2 have already been chosen, and they're chosen by Nintendo. So I don't think, his company gets to choose what comes. Like, maybe he gets to suggest it, and then Nintendo's like, yay or nay. Not sure how that works. But they're already chosen. And then, rumor has it that Nintendo wanted Sora from Kingdom Hearts to join, but Disney said no.
Disney, you tyrant.
Yeah,
That's
does
too
not
violent.
surprise me at all.
That's interesting. I didn't hear that rumor.
I did. That's just a rumor, though. There's no confirming or denying, but that's in the rumor mill. Atlas tells Persona 5 fans, quote, not to give up when referring to Persona 5 being ported to the Switch.
Isn't something coming out for Persona 5?
Yeah, it's Persona 5
Gold or something?
No. It's crap, what is it called? It's not like the actual Persona 5 game. It's like a Warriors style Persona 5, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's like a spin-off of Persona 5. Which sucks, because everyone... Oh, it's Persona 5 Scramble. That's what it's called. Everyone was like, oh, Persona 5S? Ooh, that must mean Switch. Psych, nope, it's Scramble.
I think I remember that now.
Everyone was like, what? So, I don't know what the licensing is with Sony, because obviously it's only on the PS4 right now. So I don't know if it's them who's stopping Atlas from porting it over. Don't know. But he says not to give up. And then Overwatch and Diablo are getting anime series on Netflix, similar to the Castlevania series.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I've never played Diablo. But Overwatch is it is an anime. Like, it's an anime waiting to happen.
Yeah,
I guess you've never played it, huh?
No, I've never played any of those, and I've never watched the series Castlevania on Netflix. But
Me either.
that sounds cool. Video games getting anime, that sounds awesome. Right up my alley.
No complaints.
And then finally, Sonic the Hedgehog movie is actually doing pretty well, despite the controversy over his looks.
I am going to see it tomorrow, actually. I just got my ticket before this podcast.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. I don't know. I'm debating on whether or not I should see it in theaters. I haven't decided yet. But the opening weekend of Sonic the Hedgehog was better than Detective Pikachu, which makes it the best opening of a video game movie to date.
I did see this, and I don't know how much they have to compare to. Yeah, I guess that's a pretty good statement, but there's nothing that's been a crazy blockbuster hit, I feel like.
Yeah, well, it's no Disney property or Star Wars or something like that, but still, Pokemon is a way, way, way bigger IP.
I think, what probably helped a lot was how bad the first Sonic look was, it got so much hype. People that never would have cared about the movie were suddenly interested in making fun of it. And thank God they fixed it. And I'm glad that it's doing well after they spent all that money on it.
I mean, that's true. It was free press, I guess. So that ends my section of the news. So now we're going to jump into the main topic of the podcast, which is things that we want in our gaming collections. Now, for my list, I have it organized from most obtainable to least obtainable, meaning the first one is I could totally possibly get it if I just wasn't so cheap, and then the last one being good luck finding that. You're only going to get that if you have a bajillion dollars. Okay, so the first one on my list, and I know I've talked about this before, is Baten Kaitos Origins, which is a GameCube game, and it's a prequel, though it came out later than the original Baten Kaitos, so it's a prequel to that one. And it's a role-playing video game developed by Monolith Soft, which is the same people that do Xenoblade Chronicles, all those games. And unlike the first one, which I didn't know this, was published by then Monolith Soft, which was owned by Namco, and then Origins was published by Nintendo. Did not realize that. So the first one,
I had no idea.
The first one was published by Namco. I knew that because it has it on the box. Second one published by Nintendo.
Well,
I didn't realize. Cool. I didn't realize that their partnership, like, went before their partnership with like Xenoblade Chronicles. Did not realize that. And Baten Kato's Origins was released on February 23rd of 2006 in Japan, and in North America was released on September 25th, 2006, and it was not released in Europe.
That's pretty late in the GameCube's life. I think the Wii came out in 2006.
I can't fact check that. I don't know, but yeah, it was definitely late. So I think that's probably why it's really rare and it's like sought after. I think if you were to go on eBay right now and you want like a really nice clean copy, I think it would be somewhere around $50. $50 plus, I'll say that.
Yeah, $50 or $60 is what I think it is.
Well,
that's cool. Have you played through the first one?
I started it a really long time ago because I bought it actually from Classic Game Fest. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I bought that one for like $17. And
yeah, I think that's a good deal for today's going rate for that game.
Oh, yeah, it's an amazing deal. So I don't know if they just didn't know what they had or the price didn't soar until after I bought it. But yeah, $17, both discs included. Didn't have the manual though. And I played through it for like 2 hours and I got really confused because it's not like a typical RPG. There's like, I don't even know how to explain it, but like cards are integrated into it. I don't know. I was very confused. I'll have to like actually sit down and like research how to play it. But I will play anything that Monolith Soft creates. They're geniuses.
Okay, so side note, Xenoblade has been a series since before the Wii game, right?
No. Well, kind of. I don't know. It's hard to explain. So the Xeno series is like a whole. Like every game, so Xenosaga and Xenogears is all technically under the same series, but they're like different franchises. I don't know how to explain that. Does that make sense?
Nope.
Okay, so Xenogears came out on the PlayStation, and it was made by this, like, created by the same people who founded Monolith Soft, but they're like not connected in any way. And it's very hard to explain.
Shulk in those games?
No. No, you're not.
Interesting. Alright, I guess it's my turn then. Number 10 for me. I also sorted my games the same way Hannah did, just to make it flow correctly. I mentioned my video earlier about the Powerpuff Girls and Disaster Strikes. That is my number 10 spot. It is definitely the most obtainable, maybe one of the most obtainable things on my list. Let me just go ahead and say the full name. The Powerpuff Girls Mojo Jojo A-Go-Go and Dexter's Laboratory Disaster Strikes Combo Pack. And that's it for the podcast because that was a long title. So I pretty much said everything I need to say about it in my last video, but I'm going to go ahead and sum it up a little bit. There could be a warehouse with hundreds of these, or it could just be genuinely rare. Time will tell. Of course, I would like to have it sealed. You know, I'll take it boxed or whatever. I'll take what I can get. We did find out that... Have you seen my video yet?
Yes. What kind of a person would I be if I didn't?
Okay, well, we actually have since found out that there is one guy who messaged me. He has a sealed copy of the game, and there's another guy who, in that video, I showed off the box, right? It's sold in a lot for $433. Since then, I have found that guy who bought that big lot resold that box for $100. It was listed on eBay for 4 minutes, and he sold it not knowing anything about it. I actually talked to the seller, and he was a really cool guy, and the purchaser was a guy in Canada. And yeah, that is box only. It sold for $100. Well, it came with the manual and the inserts and everything, but what was cool was inside the box there is 2 slots. There are 2 slots for cartridges to go. So that really answers the question of, does this come with one game pack inside of it, or did it have two separate games on two separate cartridges, right? That was kind of like one of the big questions at the end of the video. The only thing left to find out now is which cartridges, which versions came with the package originally. Was it the USA or the USA-1? Nobody really knows. And the guy who has a sealed one is definitely not going to open it. I wouldn't either. But one day we might find out.
Wow. I did not realize that was such a sought-after item.
It's really just a very small community of people who were helping me research it. You know, a lot of people didn't even know it existed until I had posted it on this forum. And I actually met a lot of cool people that way.
That's nice. Okay, next for me is another GameCube game, because those are just so collectible. And it's Kirby Air Ride, which is my absolute favorite Kirby game. And if you're a Kirby fan, you're saying, why? That's not even a traditional Kirby game. And that's probably why I like it so much. So this game was released in Japan on July 11th, 2003, North America on October 13th, 2003, and in Europe on February 27th, 2004. And technically this game is classified as a racing game. And it is, but it's more than just a racing game. I don't even know how to explain it. So there's different modes. And the mode that me and my friend played obsessively, I think we played it for over 1,000 hours. I'm not even kidding. My favorite is called City Trial, and basically Kirby, you play as Kirby, and it's up to 4 players, I think. And you drop into a city, and you're on these little, the little star cars, Kirby's car, the one that he's always on, his little star. And you just ride around the city, and you collect stuff. And it's power up. So there's flight. So if you get a bunch of flights, you'll just randomly lift up off the ground and fly. If you get a lot of defenses, if you get hit by somebody, then you're stronger. And there's offenses. And I don't know why, but it is highly addicting. But it is so much fun. And that's my number 9 most wanted thing.
I spent a little bit of time playing that game a long time ago, and I was not impressed.
What?
You act like I'm the minority here.
You are the minority. Did you play City Trial?
I don't know, man. It was so long ago. I remember hating it. How about that?
Oh, ouch, man. That kind of hurts.
I've grown. Maybe my taste buds are a little different now. Who knows? But I didn't have fun with it.
Okay, I will say, just to clarify so nobody fights me down in the comments, that was the first Kirby game that I ever played. So I didn't have a prior knowledge of Kirby's, platforming background.
I probably was disappointed that it wasn't a typical Kirby game when I played it.
See, I didn't have that. So I just thought, wow, this is fun. Kirby on a car? Awesome.
So my number 9 is the Neo Geo AES console and or the Neo Geo CD. I had to do some research on these, but basically, I've been wanting to dive into Neo Geo for a long time. I just know it's going to drain your pockets if you dive into that console. There are cartridges that go for hundreds of dollars, and I just think it's really cool. I think it's an obscure console. I know it was a luxury item in the 90s when it released. It cost way more than the competition. Unlike Sega and their multiple Genesis add-ons, the Neo Geo CD was actually its own console. With that being said, it was a remake of the AES. I did not know this, but it was a remake of the Neo Geo AES to drop the price of the games, which were coming out at $300 each for one cartridge, Hannah.
Oh my god. And now how much are they? $1,000?
Probably. But the Neo Geo CD games were coming out for $50 to $80 according to Wikipedia, which even by today's standards would still be a lot of money. $80?
My god.
But the CD console cost way less than the I think it cost more than the AES. Dang, I didn't write that down. Anyways, the load times were horrendous on the Neo Geo CD, so you could pay less for your games, but You had to wait and watch your disc buffer for an hour.
What a good trade-off.
As of March 97, there were 570,000 Neo Geo CD units worldwide, according to Wikipedia. Like I said, I would love to collect for these two consoles. I can just imagine how crazy, ridiculously expensive the games are. But one day.
Yeah, in your dreams. Okay. My number 8, I kind of bundled these ones together just because, I don't know. Okay, so my number 8 is the golden and the silver Mario amiibo.
Ooh.
I am a huge fan of amiibo, but I did not become a fan of it as it released, so I did not get these two amiibo. So both the silver and the gold Mario amiibo are from the Super Mario amiibo series, so like not the Smash ones or the Animal Crossing ones. And they were sold at Walmart exclusively, which I hate. The exclusives it's a killer. Because there's Target exclusives, there's Best Buy exclusives, there's Amazon exclusives. They all suck.
For Amiibo there are?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The first few waves that came out were like exclusives. That's why they were so darn hard to find. Yes. So these ones were released one time, no reprint, and they were only sold at Walmart. But Walmart, like, Nintendo, this has been a time when Nintendo did not communicate well with, like, retailers about, like, stock or, like, quantity or, like, how much they're going to get. So there were some Walmarts that didn't get any, and there were some Walmarts that got, like, 4. And obviously I wasn't a fan back then, so I didn't get any. But the silver amiibo will cost you about $50-ish on Amazon. I've seen them go for, like, in pristine condition, first print, like, $200. Like, that's insane. I'm not going to pay that.
First print, so there's different print runs?
Well, this one I think only has first print, but like if you say first print, they're like, ooh, first print. You know what I'm saying? And then the gold amiibo will set you back $75 to $100. I've seen this one sell in pristine condition for like $500. Which, it's listed at $500. Not that it's going to sell at $500, but still, that's insane. For a tiny little figure.
It's unbelievable. I didn't even know. I really did not know that there were exclusives like freaking Funko Pops.
Well, yeah. Not a fan of Funko Pops, but yeah. Amiibo, yeah, it sucks. The whole Amiibo thing sucks.
Are
if
they
you're a
still
collector.
doing exclusives even today with their releases?
Okay, so this is kind of weird for me to explain, but actually I have some more Amiibo facts for you later. But, so, the first prints, a bunch of them were exclusive. So, like, the first ones that came out, like the Marios and the Zeldas and the Links and all that, I don't think those ones were exclusive. But some of the other ones that came out, like, I know Bowser Jr., Bayonetta Player 1 and Player 2, those were all, like, exclusive. So, they're incredibly hard to find. But then, when Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out, they re-released a bunch of those because they wanted people to have them if they wanted them. But then they re-released them as exclusives again. So it's like they didn't learn their lesson the first time. And so with Amiibo, like, as soon as they sell out, like, they're not going to remake them anymore. Of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate release being the only exception. But, yeah. It's rough being an Amiibo collector.
But you can pre-order them all, right?
Yes, you can.
So it's not that rough.
But they do sell out. Pre-orders do sell out.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm going to give you a history about Amiibo. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So somewhere early in the 2010s, Nintendo was approached by Toys for Bob and Activision to become an exclusive partner in those little Skylander figures.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the ones that are, like, everywhere?
Yeah.
And Nintendo passed on that exclusivity, and then they made their own Toys to Life thing called Amiibo.
That's
and they actually announced that. I know, right? But, Activision still made their Skylanders, and it became one of Activision's most successful franchises, which did know to researching this.
Wow.
And Amiibo were announced in June of 2014 at E3. Like, it was that big. They announced it at an E3.
Wow.
Didn't know that. And as of right now, there are approximately, because I've got, conflicting information here, there's approximately 192 Amiibo figures out there right now.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Some of those, I know, there's a lot. And I think I have maybe a little bit over half right now, maybe a little bit more.
Man, I thought you had all but 5 or something.
No. Because I was late to the game when I started collecting Amiibo. It started with just Zelda and Lynx and Ganondorf and all that. And then I was like, you know what? These are kind of cool. And then it just took off from there. And they also released thousands of cards. Different NFC cards with the Animal Crossing. And then I think they had Mario Sports on there or something too. That was crazy. But yeah, there's approximately 192 figures, and who even knows how many cards. And actually, some Amiibo are exclusive to Japan, which I don't understand why, but Box Boy is a big deal over there, so they have their own Amiibo, and then they have the Monster Hunter Stories Amiibo, which look awesome, by the way. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're little people riding dragons. They're cool.
Wow, I didn't know Box Boy was so huge over there. That's an eShop game that I've been considering getting. It looks fun.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, it got its own Amiibo, so it's incredibly big.
Wow. Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. How many are you missing? Apparently half.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't counted because there's a lot, but I think I probably have 3/4.
Your wall looks amazing. Or walls. They look so cool up there.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud of it.
Go check out her Instagram at GameGirlAdvanceSP. They are super cool.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Alright, enough about Amiibo. Let's dive into Rayman. My number 8 is Rayman 2, one of my favorite games ever made. There are 2 variants. Possibly 3. So basically this game came out in 1999, and I don't know how you could have gotten these special bundles, whether it was a pre-order bonus, probably not, or if it was a store exclusive. I have no idea. So if you do know, please drop a comment. But anyways, there is the Dreamcast version that came bundled with a t-shirt, which coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Let's be real here. I love when games come with pack-ins. This one came with a freaking t-shirt, and I think it's just the jewel case wrapped in plastic with the freaking shirt folded on the back. I don't think there's anything special else about it, but that's something really cool to me. And there's one on eBay for about $500, and I can't afford it, unfortunately, and that's the only one I've ever seen.
Wow.
Next up for the Rayman 2 special bundles, we have the PlayStation 1 wristwatch bundle. This one actually came with the jewel case and the watch inside of a cardboard sleeve, unlike the Rayman 2 Dreamcast one, unless I'm wrong about the Dreamcast one. But yeah, it came with a little kid's freaking wristwatch, and it's there's one on eBay just like the Dreamcast one, and it's going for hundreds. But yeah, 2 of those that I would absolutely love. So you're okay, there was the Dreamcast and the PS1 version. Was there an N64 version? Honestly, I'm not sure, but I feel like I saw a yo-yo pack-in version of the N64 Rayman 2 once. I don't have any screenshots of it, so I could be wrong. And when I looked up Rayman 2 yo-yo, there was a Rayman 2 yo-yo that you could get, I believe with a pre-order or something whenever you went to go pick up your game. Really not sure. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that N64 one and send it to me when you find it.
Okay. Wow. My number 7, of course, it's the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Pro Controller.
Oh, shoot.
I know, I keep talking about Xenoblade Chronicles, but I just can't help myself. Just such a big fan. Okay, so this controller came out with the release of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which was on December 1st of 2017. It's a simple design. It's got the green cross, like the greenish, bluish cross, and then the pink little handle thingies. I don't know what you call those. We debated this last time. What are they called?
Oh, I don't even...
You know what I'm talking about?
No. I've seen the controller, but hang on, let me look it up.
I think we debated the same thing last time, but the things that you hold on to, what are they called?
Oh, like the grip of the controller?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
I'm
that
looking
just
at
called
it.
a grip?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I guess
Okay.
it's a grip.
Okay, anyways, the pink grip. So it's got the green cross and the pink grip on a black Pro Controller. And it's actually super sought after, not because it's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 controller, but because it's like an improved design. Like the D-pad is an improved design of the original Pro Controller. Yeah. I didn't know this until I watched a video on it, but supposedly, I don't know, because Nintendo's like the king of D-pads, so I don't understand why they put like a not good one in the original Pro Controller. But this one comes with like an improved model, and it presses easier or something, or it glides because it's got like the ball in the middle that, you know, you roll over and you press the buttons. I don't know if that's making any sense. You can't see what I'm doing with my fingers, but anyway, and so I was super upset I didn't buy this at launch. And if you want it now, it'll cost you about $100 if you want it in box.
That is so cool. Okay, so does the Smash one have the improved D-pad?
I assume that it does, because why would they go back? But before the Smash one came out, which was recently, this one was, everyone's like, oh, gotta have that one. It's better.
Yeah, that one's pretty, actually. That's so interesting. I had no idea. I see the video, though. It's a Spawn Wave video, huh?
Yep, that's exactly one that I watched.
So my number 7 is this one is on the GameCube, the Sonic Adventure 2-pack. I've been posting about this one on my Instagram story from time to time whenever they pop up on eBay. It is a player's choice bundle of Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 in a cardboard sleeve. It released sometime after 2002, not exactly sure when, and every month there's a couple that pop up on eBay. There is also a Super Monkey Ball 2-pack that goes for ridiculous amounts, and I want to say there's a third 2-pack somewhere out there. Maybe it's definitely a Sega one, so I think it's got Sonic and a Super Monkey Ball game, but I'm not sure. I'm going for a full GameCube set long term, so this is something I will need one day. And I can tell you right now, looking at eBay, there are 2 available. One of them is an auction at $914.92 with
What?
18 bids and 3 days remaining at the time of recording this. So I'm guessing it's going to go for over $1,000.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's not even a sealed copy. There is another option for $1,995.95 plus $20 shipping. So yeah, there's 2 listings on eBay. They cost a fortune, and honestly, they're probably the rarest Sonic game out there. So I guess it's kind of a big deal for Sonic collectors. If it's not the rarest, it's definitely the most expensive one. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Sonic Adventure. That's why I have the regular $20 copies of each. I can't imagine how I'm going to obtain this double pack. It's only going to get more expensive from here. 18 bids. I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, let me ask. So it's not just enough that you already own like the Sonic Adventure games. You have to own all the bundles for it to technically be a complete game collection. Is that what I'm getting here?
I think set collecting is really up for debate. You can say, oh, I have one of each game, and they're all Black Label, like, that's a full set. And it really is, like, there's no set in stone definition. But me personally, I love variants, and I think I will definitely be going for all the variants of all the games. So I'll have the Black Labels and the player's choices. I'll have all the different versions of each game. It's just something I enjoy, you know?
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. But dang, that's going to hurt your wallet.
Unless I find it at Goodwill.
I mean, it's possible. Crazier things have happened. Okay, my number 6 is the Zelda Wind Waker Wii U.
Yes.
And I know everyone's opinion on the Wii U, but I really liked mine. I still really like mine. And I like Zelda, so why wouldn't I want this?
No brainer.
Yeah. Well, okay, I will say, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but the Wind Waker is not my favorite Zelda game. It's not even, like, top 10.
I can agree with that.
But the Wind Waker gamepad is super cool looking, and it doesn't have, like, anything really to do with Wind Waker. It's more of just a Zelda design.
Right.
But yeah, and it's actually not that expensive. Like, I know GameStop has, like, those buy one get ones, or like buy two get one or whatever, and then sometimes they put them on sale, and you can probably get one, and I would say if you want a decent condition to be like $150, and if you want like a nice one in box, it might cost you somewhere around $200, but that doesn't seem that bad to me.
Have you looked at the box copies?
No, I have not. The only really ones that I've seen, because the only thing that's different about it is the gamepad, as far as I know. So I'm sure you can get a gamepad for like maybe $50 on eBay. I haven't looked, so I don't know. But it doesn't seem that bad to me. But I'm sure the box is probably what's going to set you back the most.
It is such a cool thing to have, and there were times during the Wii U's life that I had actually considered trading mine in for it. You know, it's just that cool.
It is very neat. Would love to have it.
I am a big Spider-Man fan. Not reading comics as much as I used to, but still a huge Spider-Man fan. I love Venom and Carnage. The symbiotes are really freaking cool. So, something I threw on my list is the Maximum Carnage Collector's Edition, specifically for the Sega Genesis. It did release on the Super Nintendo as well, but it just doesn't seem to be going for nearly as much as the Genesis version. So it released in 1994, and I want to say, I don't have concrete evidence of this, but I want to say you had to order this through like mail-in, or maybe like, I think you had to order it like over the phone or something, that kind of thing. And this version was limited to 5,000 copies. It is a big box of greatness. It has a hardcover comic book in it, 3 pins, and the game, right? Yeah, obviously the game itself. And it comes with that special red cartridge, which actually isn't that rare. But yeah, super cool. Limited to 5,000 copies. I would love to have this in my collection, both as a comic book fan and as a video game collector. I want to say the Super Nintendo version had more copies available, and that's why it doesn't go for as much, but who knows?
Huh. So, I've also seen this big box on Instagram somewhere. So, it comes with the red game. So, does that mean, like, the standard edition? Because isn't there a black cartridge version of this one, too?
Yeah, so, like, on Super Nintendo, I think the red one was, like, the standard one, and if there's a gray one at all, it's definitely the more rare one. But I was looking before the show at the Genesis cartridges, and the black and the red ones both go for about $20-$25. So I think they're both pretty common.
Oh.
But on the front of the cover of the big box, it's like special red limited edition, and it's really not.
Gotcha. Okay, what are we on, 5 now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my number 5. Again with the Zelda, I can't help it, would be Literally any Zelda 3DS. There are so many of them.
So many.
I think my favorite would probably be the Link Between Worlds one, which is like the gold on one half and then black on the other.
Oh yeah.
Although the Majora's Mask one is also really cool. And actually, oh gosh, I totally forgot about this one. I didn't write it in my notes, but there's also the standard 3DS with the black, and it's got kind of similar to the
gamepad
design of the gamepad. Forgot about that one. But then the 3DS XLs, which would be Majora's Mask and Link Between Worlds, and the Hyrulean Crest one, the gold one, that one's also really cool. And then they released the 2DS XL in 2018. That's like the shield, like Link's shield, blue with the design. They all look super duper awesome. I have the Zelda, like the normal 2DS, like the
green
fugly
one.
Yeah, the fugly square one, the actual 2DS. But yeah, I think all of the 3DS XLs are so pretty. I would love to own one of them. They're also not really that expensive.
The Majora's one is pretty expensive, no?
That one in box is super expensive, yes.
Man.
But just the system itself isn't too bad.
I would love to own those too, and I'm not like a major Zelda fan, but those are so nice to look at.
They're very pretty.
Number 5 for me is going to be a few games, actually. They're kind of in the same category. I'm a big fan of Hanna-Barbera. I love the Flintstones. I love Top Cat. What else? The Jetsons. There's so many shows that I was just such a big fan of growing up. And I would love to own the expensive NES Hanna-Barbera games. And so 3 that come to mind are the obvious Flintstones Surprise at Dinosaur Peak. The big one that got so much attention because of the Game Chasers, I think. That game was developed by Taito and published by Taito. It's just a platformer. People think it was a Blockbuster rental exclusive. Came out in 1994, and yeah, that was 4 years after, or it was like 3 or 4 years after the Super Nintendo launched. So I'm sure there are a variety of reasons why that game shot up in value. Would love to own it complete in box or sealed, but we'll take the cartridge if it is handed to me.
I won't complain with just the cartridge.
Similar story for the Jetsons' Cogswell's Caper on the NES. It was developed by Natsume and published by Taito. Pretty cool that it was a Natsume game. I didn't know that. It's another 2D platformer. This one was released in 1992 in North America and 93 everywhere else, which I think is interesting because we always get everything after Japan, but it wasn't the case for the Jetsons. And the third one would be Wacky Races on the NES, another classic show. I wasn't a big fan of this one, but developed by Atlas, published by Atlas. It was another platformer, and honestly, I don't know why this game wasn't a racing game. It's literally got races in the name. Atari ST and Amiga versions, well, I'm not going to say versions, but games of the same name came out, and they were racing games. So, interesting. This one was released in 1992 here in North America.
Wow, I did not know any of that.
Happy to share it with you.
All right. You ready for number 4?
I'm ready.
All right. Number 4 is a complete in-box Nintendo 64. And now you're thinking, wow, that doesn't go for that much. Why don't you just go ahead and splurge and buy it? I'm going to be very specific here, and I'm going to say I want a complete in-box where the Nintendo 64 serial number and the box serial number are the same.
Just a plain charcoal one?
Just the plain charcoal one. I'm very nostalgic towards the Nintendo 64. That was, I don't know if I can consider it my first console because technically it was given to my brother, but it was the first console that I played. So I would really want a full in-box one just to relive the moment of opening it up for the first time.
That's pretty cool, actually. Round of applause for that one.
Thank you very much. That would be my number 4.
You have your original N64, I'm assuming?
Absolutely, both of them, yes.
Oh, both of them? You and your brother had one?
Kind of. So, there's a story behind that I'll tell you. So, my brother got the first one that we ever played, and then, so that technically was his, so I couldn't use it when I wanted to, because he wanted to use it. Anyway, so my aunt at the time, who is probably listening to this right now, sorry, but she was dating this guy, and he was super duper nice. Remember him being super nice, super fun, and he actually gave me his childhood Nintendo 64, or I guess teenagehood, because he's a lot older than I am. But yeah, he gave me his, so technically that was mine, and I still have both of those.
Well, that is an interesting story. I wonder if your aunt is laughing right now.
She's probably like, I totally forgot about that. Actually, he bought me, I remember this very, very clearly. We went into GameStop because I wanted a Nintendo 64 game. And back in those days, I think I was young. I was probably like 6 or 7, maybe 8. And they had Nintendo 64 cartridges across the wall. I remember it so clearly, just being blown away. And he was like, you can have one. And stupid me,
Pokemon Puzzle League.
I'm not aware. I'm not aware. No. That game's amazing, by the way. No. I'm not aware of, obviously, some are more expensive than others. Some are more, sought after others. You know what I picked?
Madden?
And it's not, no. It's not Elmo or anything like that. I picked Gex, Enter the Gecko.
Hey.
Which, I mean, it's a fun game. I love it, and I played it to death. But why couldn't I have gone for, like, I don't know, Conker's Bad Fur Day, or, like, a Super Smash Brothers, or something like that.
Depending on your age, I can assume why you wouldn't have gotten Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Well, I mean, that's a cool squirrel on the front. Mine was a lizard. Gex was a lizard. I don't know. It just drew my eye, and I don't know, it costed, like, $5. He was probably like, score.
Yeah. All right, coming in at number 4. This one I learned about when I started collecting, and it's been something I've always thought was cool ever since that moment. But the Panasonic Q.
That's the one I knew was going to be on there. That's the one I knew you were going to put. Oh.
I didn't even know. Wow, that's crazy.
Just to preface that, before we started recording this podcast, I was like, I know what's going to be on your list. We didn't share because we wanted it to be, like, surprising. I knew it.
Wow, I'm predictable.
I knew it was going to be on your list.
Panasonic Q. So for those of you that don't know me like Hannah does, it is a DVD player cross GameCube, only released in Japan, released during the holiday season of 2001, and it came with its own Panasonic GameCube controller. So it's like a grayish Panasonic ugly gray DVD color, and it was discontinued in 2003, okay? Probably less than 2 years after it launched. I remember watching a video. It was extremely expensive, and somebody said when I was doing research that a DVD player and a GameCube together cost less than this thing, so why would you buy it? Understandable. Although I will add, it could play your CDs. You could listen to music on it, so you had that.
So why wouldn't you?
So big problem with, if I decide to purchase one day, they often have disc tray issues, and it is like open heart surgery trying to fix this thing. Like, it is, I've heard people complain about it a lot. Just to have one on my shelf would be nice, but I would want it to be working. So that would cost more than buying a broken one off of eBay. So maybe someday. That's why it made my number 4 spot here. There was also a special version of the Game Boy player for it. Did you know that?
No, I did not, actually.
Me either. I think it's freaking cool. I haven't seen it, actually, so maybe we'll throw up a picture for the viewers.
Okay, so number 3 on my list is an Amiibo display kiosk. So, back when Nintendo was first promoting the Amiibo, they had these fancy kiosks, and I'll throw up a picture for you so you can see it. But it played really, really loud music, and as soon as you walk past it, it would go, Amiibo! Amiibo! And then it would start playing, like, what they are, what they do, like, what characters there were. And I would so love to put one of those on my shelf. And just, because it's got lights, and it's got a screen, and you can put little Amiibo down there in the bottom. Would love it. Would blow my mind to have that in my collection.
I've seen it, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember, like, scaring the heck out of me with how loud that thing was.
It is loud.
Yeah, that would be really cool to, like, have your most prized Amiibos on it. That would be awesome.
It's my dream.
My number 3 is, I would love to have an original arcade cabinet. I'm a big fan of Outrunners, which is a version of Outrun for 2 players. I can't imagine having this one in my house unless I'm like that guy that lives in Australia named The Last Gamer or whatever. Like, that dude has a mansion. But anyways, I don't think I would personally have a giant Outrunners cabinet. It just takes up too much space. And I can't imagine how many parts could go wrong in that thing. But I would also love to have Joust or Galaga. Kind of like common ones. I know you guys are probably waiting for me to say something really obscure, but I'm pretty basic. I love Joust. I love Galaga. I love Outrunners. Learning how to maintain them would be a blast for me. And, I have the Rampage arcade 1-up machine, and it's just not the same. It was nice for the price, I guess, but definitely will be buying a real full-size original arcade cabinet when I get older and have the money for that.
When I become an adult.
I know, right? I'm 23 out here. When I'm done with college, I guess. Whenever there's arcade money in my wallet. Definitely going to cost me hundreds, maybe even thousands, depending on the game, but it'll be worth it.
Wow. That is so funny you say that, because you know what's on my list?
An arcade cabinet?
An arcade cabinet, but not Joust or Centipede or whatever. Mine would be Pac-Man.
I thought I was basic.
Nope. I would love to have a vintage Pac-Man machine in my game room. Not now, because I live in a tiny apartment, but one day, when I grow up, I want to have, obviously, a room dedicated to just games. And I would love to have, not necessarily, like, an original Pac-Man, because I'm sure those go for, like, thousands of dollars. But just one that, like, was played in an arcade. Like the worn-down joystick. You put your quarters in, and a bunch of sweaty nerds have been playing for years. I want one of those.
Heck yeah.
Also, fun fact about Pac-Man. While I was researching this, I didn't know. It was originally called Puck-Man, but was changed internationally to avoid people vandalizing the machines and turning the P into an F.
Oh.
At least that's what the Wikipedia says. I was like, wow, that's actually hilarious.
What, like a hockey puck?
I guess. It was supposed to be a puck eating fruit? I don't know. Puck-Man.
I can't say Pac-Man is much better, but that's kind of lame.
Puck-Man.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Fun fact.
Alright, my second to last entry. I also put a kiosk on my list. Just not the Amiibo one. I would love to have a Super Nintendo kiosk. I would love to have any kiosk in this whole world, but to have one of the first console I ever owned would be an absolute dream come true. I would totally play on it. I would put a couple stools in front of it and just put a giant CRT in front of it, and I would play the heck out of it. Obviously, they're rare and expensive. Most people who have one aren't selling it. I can imagine Nintendo probably went around and took a lot of these back after, the N64 was coming out, or the Virtual Boy or whatever. I've heard the critique that kiosks can make your room look like a Walmart, and people don't understand why you would want that. And to me,
that's kind of funny.
It's just a piece of history, and one that not a lot of people get to have. I think it's such an awesome thing to have. Yeah, so if it makes my room look like a Walmart, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want your room to look like a Walmart? Okay.
Number 1, drum roll.
So, oh yeah, my number 1, which I guess maybe is not exciting to some people, but I would really, really want a Nintendo 64 DD.
Oh,
You know what that is?
yeah.
It's known as the Nintendo 64 disk drive, but I think it was originally known as the dynamic drive, which I don't know what that means. And basically, it's just a Nintendo 64 attachment that goes on the bottom of the Nintendo 64. Like, if you turn your Nintendo 64 around and you see it's got, like, that weird port at the bottom, and you're like, what the heck is this? It's that. That was what it was made for. This thing was announced in 1995, which was prior to the Nintendo 64 release in Japan of 1996, but it was delayed and eventually came out in 1999. And if you're like, wow, I've never heard of that in North America, well, that's because it was only released in Japan.
Yep.
So, that really sucks. So, I'm not really sure what Nintendo was going for here. I think they had, like, a very specific audience that they wanted. But, you could only get one of these things by mail order subscription. It was a plan, so you paid 2,500 yen, which is about $25 a month for 12 months, and you could not only get a Nintendo 64 DD, but also access to the RandNet online service, which allowed you to connect to the internet, which is a big deal for Japan because you couldn't really do that back then. And then the modem cartridge, which was it came with the like a Nintendo 64 cartridge, kind of. An expansion pack and 6 DD titles, which were to be shipped to subscribers if you paid for this on a bi-monthly basis.
Wow.
Which is probably why this thing is so rare and nobody wanted it. And only about 15,000 units were sold. So commercial failure, unfortunately.
That's insane. That would be so cool to own.
Yes. And when I go to Japan, inevitably, maybe I'll find one. I doubt it.
You better
That's why
have
it's on my...
more than 2,500 yen in your pocket.
Oh, yeah. I better have 1,000,000 yen. But yeah. So, fun facts about this is 10 discs. There was only 10 discs ever made for this thing, and I'll read them out to you. It's Mario Artist Paint Studio, Doshin the Giant, the RandNet disc, which allowed people to connect to the internet, Mario Artist Talent Studio, SimCity 64, an F-Zero expansion kit, F-Zero X expansion kit, Japan Pro Golf, Tour 64, another Doshin the Giant game, which got a really long title.
Wow.
Mario Artist Communication Kit, and Mario Artist Polygon Studio. So a lot of art stuff.
Really pushing that Mario Artist.
Lots of art stuff.
Did you say F-Zero?
Yeah, and it was an F-Zero X expansion kit.
Okay.
So basically, it was like the disc that you popped. So you put the F-Zero cart on the top, and then you put the disc in the little disc driver thing, which was like on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And F-Zero, like the game itself, would recognize the fact that there was a DD attached and the thing was popped in. So then you could like, I guess it was just for extra memory because the Nintendo 64 cartridge couldn't hold that much. And so it was basically made so that developers could make a game on the top, and then if they needed extra space, they can put it in at the same time. So that you could access a whole bunch of other stuff. But I think it was cool that it connected to the internet.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Back in the mid-90s, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is very neat. So, very, very rare. I'm sure, I didn't look it up to see how much it cost, but I'm sure it's a pretty penny.
It's hard enough to find in Japan. It's got to be way harder to get one here. And one that works
Yes.
at that. All right, my number one is very predictable, unfortunately.
Rayman.
So, I didn't have it as my number one until you said that you were going to put them in, like, obtainable order, and this is certainly the least obtainable item on my list. I put Stadium Events or an NWC cartridge. NWC stands for the Nintendo World Championships, which was a competition Nintendo held here in the States across 30 American cities in 1990. It is unknown how many gray cartridges were made, but 90 copies of the gray cartridge were given to finalists after the championships concluded. After that, I didn't research it, but I'm not sure how you could have gotten a cartridge I think it was through Nintendo Power. That's not right. I don't know. I should have researched that more. Dang it. But the highest numbered cart for the gray cartridges as of August of 2019 is number 353. So there are at least 353 out there, or there were. I'm sure some of them have been destroyed since then.
Oh, that hurts.
So yeah, there's like hardly any out there. It's no wonder that this is one of the rarest games, if not the rarest game ever made. And as for the gold cartridge, you could get that one through Nintendo Power. There were 26 offered through Nintendo Power magazine in a separate contest. And they look like the same gold color as the Legend of Zelda games on the NES. And yeah, there were 26 of those. So who knows where those are today, except for a couple of them.
Oh my gosh.
So those are the NWC ones. I also mentioned stadium events. And this kind of reminded me of, or what you were saying earlier about Baten Kaitos, or however you pronounce it.
Baten Kaitos?
Yeah.
Could be Kaitos. I don't know.
So this game, Stadium Events, came out in 1987 as a Bondi title. Bandai? Oh yeah, Bandai Namco. Anyways, Bandai title from 1987. And in North America, it was purchased by Nintendo and re-released the following year under a new name, World Class Track Meet. Copies of Stadium Events have actually sold for up to $35,000. A lot of people don't really know what happened to them when they were recalled. Howard Phillips was a former Nintendo spokesman who actually came out and said a few things about the old cartridges. I guess he was aware of how freaking rare they've become over the years. Basically, people were speculating that they were recalled and destroyed, or they were recalled and Nintendo put their version of the game on these cartridges with new labels and stuff. But Howard Phillips said that this was not likely, that the latter was not likely because it was just too expensive. It would have taken way too much time to do that. It would have been easier to just put the game, Nintendo's version of the game, on new cartridges. And he also said that he doesn't think they were destroyed when they were recalled. So it's completely unknown how many there are out there. I don't think there are any factories that have a pallet of these laying around. I think it's been 30 plus years now, and there are just a very few amount of Stadium Events cartridges. So if you have one in your attic, it's probably time to throw it up on eBay.
Could you imagine, though, if someone just stumbled upon a whole box?
Dude, they would have to sell it like one by one, make people think that there's still only a few. You can't just throw a whole pallet on eBay.
That.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I mean, still, even if you added 100 more, that's still not that many.
Yeah. Who knows?
Dang, $35,000. Is that what you said?
That's
Holy
exactly
moly.
right. Yeah. All right, so we want to dive into some honorable mentions here.
Yes.
So you can go through your list first.
Okay, so these are my honorable mentions. They're not necessarily in any order. They just weren't as exciting. Okay, so first one would be, I would like to own all of the Zelda Dark Horse figures. And if you don't know what that is, Dark Horse is
A comic company.
Yeah, but they also make figures and all that. And I have two. I have the Skyward Sword one, and I have the Twilight Princess one, but there's also another Skyward Sword one. It's not of Link, though. It's of one of the characters. There's a Ganondorf one, which I know is probably the most expensive. Would love to own all of those in box. And then I would also want any console display from any retail stores. So the ones that I remember playing are Nintendo 64 ones, where Walmart would have their cabinets full of games, their glass cabinets, and they'd have the controller in front of you, down, obviously, where kids could reach it, and then they had the screen, like, above the cabinets. I don't know if you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they had those for PlayStation 2 and Nintendo 64. That's ones that I remember. But I would like those ones the most, just because that's the ones I remember playing. Another honorable mention would be the Zelda CDI games.
You know, I was surprised that those weren't on your list.
Yeah. Well, okay. See, for me, obviously, I'm a big Zelda fan. I would want to actually play the games, and these ones are trash. So I don't know if it'd be worth it for me to pay hundreds of dollars or, I don't know, thousands of dollars to just look at them. You know?
The longer you wait for these, they're just going to keep going up in price. But yeah, a lot of people want to get their hands on those and Hotel Mario.
Yeah, but they're crappy. They're like the worst Zelda games ever. It's like, why would I want to own those?
Did you see a while back, they, somebody announced a new mini console, and then somebody sent a tweet to Philips, the company, and was like, when are we going to get the CDI mini? Did you see this?
Oh, God. No, I did not. What'd they say? Did they reply?
Yes, dude. Some employee that didn't even know what a CDI was freaking replied and was like, I'll have to look into that for you. Anything's possible or something like that. And it was hilarious, man. They had to delete that tweet.
That's funny. No, I did not know that. That is hysterical. My next one would be any Nintendo display item. And what I mean by that is like any cardboard cutout or any sign or anything display. Even if it's like one of those stupid cardboard shelves. I want one.
I love seeing those on Instagram. Like, if you post that, you automatically made me jealous.
I know. I want one. And funny story, actually. I went into a Walmart, and this was when they were promoting, obviously, Breath of the Wild, because it had just come out with a Switch. And it was one of those, I don't want to say circular, because it's not, but it's like oval shape. And it's just like one of those displays. Big display. It's like the size of a person. And I asked one of the employees if I could have it. And he said, yeah, I don't care. I don't get paid enough to care what you do with it. But, maybe you should ask my manager over there. And I was honestly debating just picking it up and walking out the door. And then because I picked it up and I moved it. And I carried it with me. And I was like, God, you know what? You know how angry my dad would be if the police called him and say, there's someone trying to, your daughter's trying to steal this sign from a Walmart. I was like, you know what? This is a good idea. So I went and I asked the manager. And they're like, no, we're not allowed to give promotional items away. And I was like, yeah, but wink, wink, can I just have it? And they're like, wink, wink, no, you can't just have it. And I was like, so if I walk out with this, what are you going to do? And
you did not say that.
I asked, yeah. It's first of all, it's a person at Walmart. And they said, we have to call the cops. And I was like, that's not the answer I was looking for. I was looking for, I'll just look the other way. I don't really care. And then I asked all these questions because I really wanted it. It had Breath of the Wild on it.
Wow.
And I said, so can I just wait like around back and you bring it like you're throwing it away and then just put it in my car? And the guy was like, no, ma'am, we can't do that either. And I was like, oh, why?
He went home and talked to his family about how awful this customer was that night.
I was being nice about it, but I was actually, you know what, I was probably harassing this guy. I feel bad. If you're listening, I'm so sorry. I didn't get it, though. Moral of the story. I know. So sad. Next thing on my list would be, I'm sure you don't know what this is, but if you have seen on my Instagram, there's a poster above my amiibo shelves with a white-haired man. And that's from one of my favorite animes, D. Gray Man. I know you don't know what that is.
You've told me before.
But they have games for it, obviously in Japan, because it's obviously a lot more popular over there. Why would they bring it over here? Nobody knows what it is. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll just import it from Japan and play it on my PS2 here. Well, PS2 is region locked, so I'd have to get a Japanese PS2. So it's not impossible, but it's probably not going to happen. And then I also had the Panasonic Q on my list, but I knew you had it on yours, so I didn't talk about it. But that would be super cool. I know that they're obviously rare to find here. I know they're not as rare to find in Japan, so that would be super, super duper cool if I just stumbled upon one while I'm there, or if I'm there. And then the last thing on my list is the Wind Waker and Metroid Prime GameCube game.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The split pack.
Yeah, tell me about it. That one's just gonna keep going up in price. It's just literally a paper insert that makes it different from anything else on the GameCube. That's all it is, and I gotta have it.
Yeah, gotta have it. Zelda, gotta have it. Even though it's Wind Waker. Must have. The copy that I saw went, or at least was listed for like 500 plus. I don't know if it actually sold at that.
Sounds about right.
That's not surprising at all. And that's all that I have on my list.
I just have a few here. I would love to have a Virtual Boy so that I can get constant headaches playing it. Speaking of which, I'm playing Luigi's Mansion 3. Oh, I didn't list that in my opening discussion. But yeah, I'm playing Luigi's Mansion 3. Super cool that they have the Virtual Boo in there. Have you played it?
No, I don't own it.
It's actually, so like in the GameCube game, they had a Nintendo Game Boy or something, a Game Boy Color, and it was... I totally forgot what they called it. But anyways, this is like a running thing that they have going. So you had a Game Boy as your item in the first game. They had a DS in the second game. And in this game, you don't get a 3DS. You don't get a Wii U gamepad. You get a Virtual Boy. And it is like the coolest thing. The coolest nod to Nintendo history ever.
That is neat. I've seen the Game Boy one.
Right.
But I can't remember what it's called.
Like Game Boy Scare, I want to call it. It doesn't sound right, though. Anyways, when you open the Virtual Boo in the game, it's literally all red and black, just like the Virtual Boy. And I'm just like, man, y'all really went all out with this nod to history. It's so cool.
That's so cool. Nintendo loves their nostalgia.
Even for a console that they don't want to recognize.
Yeah, that is odd.
Virtual Boy Mini coming 2020. Alright, my next one is Spider-Man Web of Fire. Do you know which game this is?
Nope.
Sega 32X. I don't even have a 32X, but this game is, I think, one of the top, like, 3, if not the top 1 rarest or most expensive games on the Sega CD. I don't know why. I don't have any information for you, but it is a Spider-Man game, and it costs money, and I want it. I want Rayman 1 for the Atari Jaguar. I don't have a Jaguar, and it is definitely the most expensive version of Rayman 1. And I think I've heard people say it's the best way to play it. Believe it or not. I think that this game was like designed for the Jaguar first, with other consoles being an afterthought, if I remember correctly. That'd be cool to have complete in box. And the Sega Saturn version of Rayman, I still don't have. I thought it was more expensive than it is. It's only like a $50 game, complete in box, so it was definitely not going to make it onto the list. And I don't know how much the Jaguar version is. I know it's over $100 for the cartridge. And last but not least, honorable mention, Mario Kart 8 Limited Edition. Tell me you've seen this.
No?
It was a Nintendo New York City exclusive. And
of course it was.
Yeah, I'm surprised neither of us had either of the anything from the New York City on our lists. There's so many cool things from there, but this limited edition came packaged with like a blue shell trophy or something. And
what?
Yeah, and there was only like a very limited number made. So I've seen them like sealed and graded on eBay before. Like they're just rare as heck. I'm a huge fan of the Wii U. Mario Kart 8 was pretty awesome, but something about this specific limited edition is just so cool to me. It's so limited. Like, it actually is limited, unlike a lot of things that get the limited edition title.
Despite things that say it.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be really cool. All these things would be really cool. And this isn't like a video asking for the audience to send us some rare stuff. We just thought it would be an interesting topic to cover.
So that pretty much ends our lists, plus honorable mentions. And as always, we're going to end things with a question. And it is, what are some rare or expensive or just, things that you have always wanted in your game collection? Drop a comment and let us know.
We would love to hear from you guys. Hannah, where can the people find you?
Game Girl Advance SP on Instagram.
And I am at ThatGamerNerd on Instagram, Bird Dog Gaming everywhere else. We will see you guys next time on the Unlockable podcast.
See ya.